Hey everybody, we are live here for SNL as my computer boots up on me, or my monitor because I just shut it off trying to turn it. I want to welcome you to April, I think today is April 19th, and we are on week 5 maybe of our SNLs because we had Easter in the way. So we're going to keep pushing along with SNLs online like this. So feel free to use the chat. Let us know that you're here. Let us know who's watching, where you're watching from. We're just excited to have you tonight. In a few minutes, I'll share with you some announcements, and want to share with you a new series we're starting for the next 3 weeks as we continue our SNL at home. Hope you're all doing well. While you're saying your name and where you're from, feel free to chat. What was the highlight of your week this week so far? Highlight of your week. Looking forward to hearing some of the highlights of your stay-at-home week. For me, I planted 28 bushes today out front. So that was a highlight of my week. I'm sure a bunch of teenagers, you would think, that's a highlight. Yes, it was 65 degrees outside, and I was enjoying some hard work and making the front yard look prettier. And did I mention it was 65 degrees outside? I feel like I've been stuck inside for so long. So what are some highlights for you this week? What have you been doing at home? What have you been doing to keep you occupied? So share that in the chat. One other thing I did this week that just a highlight for you guys. I went for a walk. I went for a walk through the woods Thursday afternoon for just an hour. I called some people on the phone to say hi and just to see how they were doing. And so I walked through the woods right next to my house, kind of behind my house, and wandered through the backyard and through the front yard and into the woods and out of the woods. And I found a really cool stream apparently back in the woods, and there was a little man-made bridge going over the stream. That was pretty cool. Somebody else, Chrissy shared yard work today. Emily watching lots of movies. What movies? That's important to know. If you're watching movies, what movies are you watching? We've been watching the Star Wars series at home. I am the only one in the house that has seen the Star Wars series, with the exception of the very last movie that came out in December. And so I am taking my kids and my wife through the series. I'm pretty sure Jackie has checked already, but the girls are excited. We have watched episodes 4, 5, and 6, and 1 and 2. So we're continuing to push through. Allie did some yard work and cleaning the storage closet in the basement. All right. Emily Walters, Inside Out, great movie. I love Inside Out. That's probably one of my favorite Pixar movies. Somebody went for a hike today. Allie Bruner. All right. Cool. Hopefully you were social distancing on your hike. My family just finished binge watching Star Wars 2. Katie, that's awesome. Very cool. Which one was your favorite one? That's what I want to know. What was your favorite Star Wars? Jack Salva retracted his message. He must not have been happy with what he said. I was quickly reminded of how bad the first couple Star Wars were. Star Wars 1 and most of 2 were just Let's see. The Apollos are watching Star Wars as well. Just started episode 3 tonight. Very cool. Still, probably the 6 is your favorite, Katie. The Return of the Jedi, classic. Very cool. Welcome, Cassins. Welcome, everybody. So I'm done with my chitter chatter. Empire Strikes Back or Revenge of the Sith? Wow, 2 very different movies, but Empire is definitely better. if we're going to get into it. Somebody's been watching Mission Impossible and Narnia. Nice. I really like the Mission Impossible series. I watched that back in September when I had my hip surgery. Blew through the whole series. It was great. Somebody else is watching Marvel and Star Wars. Let's see. Doctor Who. I got to be honest, Maddie, have never watched Doctor Who. So it is what it is. But hey to everybody. So if you're just joining in, we're excited that you're here. I shared with everybody kind of the plan for tonight. We are going to I just have just a very few pieces of information for you. After that, I want to share with you the first part of our 3-part series we're going to be talking about over the next 3 weeks. And then we're going to break up into some small groups through Zoom. And Ashley will have information for all of you in the chat that are interested in joining in our Zoom small groups. So in the meantime, let me share with you just a few things. One, this is the easiest one, and there are still some of you that are joining us that you are neglecting to do what we've been asking you to do. Very simple. Smash the subscribe button. It's right there on your screen. All right. If you're using a touch screen, take your finger, push on the screen. Okay. If you're not like me, if your screen is not a touch screen, you should be able to control the mouse so the mouse gets all the way over and then touches the button. All right. So smash that accept button or the subscribe button, and that way you can know when we're going live and when new videos are posted. Not sure if you know this, but we have been posting midweek videos. So the next midweek video should be coming out on Thursday with a surprise presenter or speaker or whatever. It's not me. It's not Ashley. So you definitely want to be checking that out. And I think that's coming out on Thursday. Be on the lookout too on our YouTube and possibly Instagram this week, midweek, for another new thing we're doing. Kicking the tires on it. Don't even want to share with you what we're thinking because we want to see how it goes. All right, so be on the lookout for that. So those are the things I just want to share with you. And from there, we're going to head over and talk about our story for this week, our message, our series. Our series is very simple. You ready for this? What to do when you don't know what to do. What to do when you don't know what to do. We're going to be talking about that for the next 3 weeks. What to do when you don't know what to do. Does anybody feel like that is accurate to what we're dealing with right now? There's a lot of don't know what to do right now. You know what I don't know? I don't know when everybody's going to go back to school. We all know it'll be after May 15th now. But when? When will I be able to stop having to wear a mask when I go out? When will I be able to go back to work? When will I be able to see people? Don't know. So what to do when you don't know what to do? This is a 3-week series. Tonight kicks it off, and we're going to be talking about the first part. First part's very simple. When life gives you lemons, all right? When life gives you lemons. I have to apologize if that image isn't very clear, but it is what it is, okay? So when life gives you lemons, I have to be honest. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Ever hear that phrase? I hate that phrase. I hate that saying. I don't know why, but I just don't like it. But this phrase kind of popped into my head this week as I was prepping the message and the point of what we're going to talk about tonight. And I was reminded very quickly about other lemons that I've experienced recently. There was one specific set of lemons that I got. And no, I wasn't making actual lemonade. No, it wasn't real lemons. I don't have a lemon tree growing outside. I didn't go to the store to get lemons. What I mean by lemons is when everything just seems to go wrong, right? Well, I had a situation like that 2 months ago. That's our downstairs toilet. Now, don't jump ahead thinking that you know the story because it's probably not what you think. But that's our downstairs toilet. It's almost the exact same toilet we have downstairs. Same brand. The only thing different between that toilet and ours downstairs is the little flusher handle is silver instead of white. Well, 2 months ago, on a Saturday morning, it was clogged. I was doing some workout in the garage, and our bathroom is right in between the garage and the kitchen, and it's kind of like it's a step down from the kitchen, so it's at the lowest point of the house, right? And Jackie pops the garage door open, and she's like, "Hey, the toilet's clogged. I can't seem to get it unclogged." Now, clogged toilets are nothing new, right? We've all clogged toilets in our life, and for some reason, one of my kids probably clogged the toilet using too much toilet paper or whatever, and that happens, right? I can't tell you how many toilets I've unclogged in my life, and usually it's me that causes them. But in this situation, it probably wasn't me. I don't think it was me. Regardless, I go in and I take the plunger. You got a good plunger, and I'm plunging that toilet. Usually, about 6 or 7 pumps, and the clog is free and clear, and go about the day. I was plunging the toilet for about 20 minutes with no luck. I was at a point where I'm like, maybe there's a clog somewhere else. Maybe I don't know. Was something just was there like reverse suction going? I just couldn't seem to get the water to go down any further. So after talking with a neighbor, I decided, I'm going to run the water from the sink next to it, as well as the utility sink, which is over in the next room, and they're all on the same the drain pipe. And so after a few minutes of running the water from those pipes, bubbles started coming up out of the toilet, like air bubbles. I'm like, oh, good, this is releasing the pressure. All of a sudden, the toilet flushed, and it was fine. Not a big deal. Until 3 days later, Tuesday, the clog happened again. So I was like, you know what? There's probably something stuck in there. I'm going to get a drain auger, which is what you'll see right there. That's some people call it a drain snake. I went to Home Depot on Wednesday morning. I bought a drain snake on my way to work, and I figured sometime after work or whenever that night, I was just going to, snake the drain and see if there was something kind of clogging it. My first thought, honestly, was, did my kids flush something down there that they shouldn't have? Like, were they carrying a toy into the bathroom and dropped it in and didn't say anything and felt embarrassed and they just flushed it, hoping that it would disappear? Well, I got home from work and, quickly got dinner on the table, and that Wednesday night was Ash Wednesday service. So I went off to church that night and figured, you know what, I'll get to unclogging the drain and figuring out what's going on when I get home. Well, turns out there was a clog in the pipe right where the pipe enters the septic tank. Yeah, I live in the woods in Marlton, and we had a septic tank. So, we're not fancy city folk where all of our sewage gets sent to, the center of town or wherever. So right where the pipe enters the septic tank, there was a clog. You want to know how I knew? Simple. While I was at the Ash Wednesday service, Jackie was up there showering. When you shower, the water from the shower goes down the drain, and that drain goes out into the septic tank. Well, the water from the shower went down the drain, like it should, and it was headed towards the clog. But you know what happens when water hits a clog? It stops. It begins to fill the pipes backwards, and it continued to fill up the pipes. Do you know how I knew that? Because eventually the pipes got full enough, and there was only one place for the water to go, out the lowest exit point. Yes, the toilet. And so while I was at church, Jackie texted me. All of the water had come rushing out of that toilet. Poop, toilet paper, sewage, all over our bathroom floor. It just, the lid of the toilet was just gross. So what went from a frustrating situation of a clogged toilet got so much worse. It was not what I wanted to deal with at 9 p.m. on a Wednesday night. Life gave me lemons that day. But I certainly was not making lemonade. In fact, I wanted nothing to do with any kind of food or drink. It was absolutely disgusting. So what I ended up doing, I had Roto-Rooter come and they did some work. Got on my hands and knees and scrubbed the floor and disinfected the floor and everything in that bathroom until about 1 a.m. It was a long night. I was really tired the next day, and I couldn't get rid of the smell of poop for weeks. So why do I share that story with you? Because there's a story in Scripture that I want to share with you about a man who experienced way worse lemons than an overflow toilet. He went through some serious tough times, and it only seemed to get worse for him. His name was Job. Job was a good dude, very righteous, faithful follower of God. You can read about Job's story in the book named after him, Job. It's in the Old Testament. It's 42 chapters. The first 2 chapters talk about kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight. The middle 38 chapters highlight kind of how he dealt with it. And then the final 2 chapters are an interaction he has with God. And so we're going to divvy up the 3-week series based on those 3 sections. So if you want to, after tonight, go ahead and read chapters 1 and 2. We would encourage you to do so. If you want to keep reading and get a jump on the next 38 chapters for next Sunday, go ahead and do that. But Job, good dude. Good story in the book. It's a little tough to keep going in the middle because it was a lot of rough times for Job. So here's an excerpt from chapter 1, which we're going to highlight today. It says this: one day when Job's sons, that's right, it's not Job, it's Job. One day when Job's sons and daughters were feasting and drinking wine at the oldest brother's house, a messenger came to Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the donkeys were grazing nearby. And the Sabeans attacked and made off with them. They put the servants to the sword, and I'm the only one who escaped to tell you. I gotta be honest, not good, right? Job's probably, pretty broken up because a lot of his servants were killed, and he lost his oxen and his donkeys, But it doesn't end there. While he was still speaking, another messenger came and said, the fire of God fell from the heavens and burned up the sheep and the servants, and I'm the only one who escaped to tell you. Now, I don't know what the fire of God was. I don't know if it was a blaze from heaven, but, what we do know is this, that the sheep and the servants burned up, and one guy escaped, came back to tell Job. The other guy wasn't even finished speaking, and this guy came and shared this. Could the day get any worse? I think it can. While he was still speaking, another messenger came and said, the Chaldeans formed 3 raiding parties and swept down on your camels and made off with them. They put the servants to the sword, and I am the only one who escaped to tell you. Are you sensing a theme here? But it gets worse. While he was still speaking, yet another messenger came and said, your sons and daughters were feasting and drinking wine at the oldest brother's house. When suddenly a mighty wind swept in from the desert and struck the 4 corners of the house, it collapsed on them, and they're now dead. And I'm the only one who escaped to tell you. Just when things couldn't get any worse, Job loses all of his children. But it wasn't over. So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord and afflicted Job with painful sores, from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. So the story talks about how Satan went into God's presence and asked God for permission to create this situation for Job. And so Satan does, and puts Job in this tough spot. Because Satan knew that Job was righteous. He was a follower of God. And his goal was to trip up Job, to make him curse God, to make him hate God, to sway him in the opposite direction. But God knew Job's heart. God knew Job. Life gave Job more lemons than he could have known what to do with. He literally lost everything. And each time he thought, it can't get worse than this, it did. And after losing everything, here he is, sitting, stewing, body covered in sores. And so I try to picture myself in Job's situation. What do you do? How do you respond? What's next for him? I don't know how I would respond in this situation. I know that Job is a way better man than I am. I'm pretty sure that after probably the third or fourth messenger that came, I would have just been completely paralyzed in that situation. Now, here's the thing about the story of Job. The whole story, not even just the beginning part that I shared with you. I think there are so many parallels to that story and what we're dealing with now. In both stories, there's so much uncertainty. There's so much awfulness. Death, sickness, loss. Now, I would argue that there were definitely worse lemons in Job's case. But it can certainly have the same feelings for us either way. And so as we continue to talk about the story of Job in the next 2 weeks, we'll talk about how he managed to get through it. And know that Job does get through it. And if you want a spoiler alert, go ahead and read the rest of the book. It's a good read. But Job gets through it. And I know that's a message that Ashley and I keep sharing with you during this time is we're all going to get through it. But in the meantime, before we continue the story next week, some questions I want you to think about. Some questions I want you to ask yourself. And some questions I want you to ask in your small groups. Here's some of the questions. Do you feel like you're in situations that are similar to Job's? Now, I doubt that any of us are in situations like his to that extreme. But do you feel like yours is kind of like that? Does the current corona pandemic make you feel, does the current corona pandemic feel like this to you? Feel like there's so much unknown, not sure what to do? What are some things you can do to deal with the lemons you have right now? You know, I don't know about you, but we've been at this at home thing for what, like 5 weeks, I think, and it's starting to feel kind of normal, which, to be honest, scares me a little bit. That it's feeling normal. I don't want to get too adjusted and too comfortable with not being around people because I know that we are created to be in community together. And right now we're having community together virtually. But eventually, we're going to be having community again together. But we're adjusting. We're making this new reality a new norm. So maybe that's how you're dealing with the lemons that life is giving you. How do you keep things from getting worse for you? Something to think about. And if you follow our governor on Twitter as he's sharing updates every day, like I follow and listen to, one of the things he shares all the time is if you're struggling mentally, emotionally, reach out and talk to somebody. Find somebody, maybe it's your small group leader or a close friend that you can talk to, a parent. I promise you, your parents care enough to help you. So be open about it if things are getting worse for you. Where can you find the bright side in the midst of all the unknown? Where can you find the bright side in the midst of all this? I shared some of the bright side, for me. All this family time. Getting to do some stuff around the house has been nice. We've been watching lots of movies, and I can't tell you how many board games and card games I'm playing with my kids. I introduced them to the game of Risk the other day, and it was fun until the first game they eliminated me in a few rounds. But for you, what are the bright sides in this? And that's important because that helps keep in perspective what's most important. So let me pray for you, and then Ashley will share in the chat the Zoom info, and I'll see you over there. And I want to be able to say hi to you. So even when you're done your small groups, pop back into the main room and say hi. Really look forward to seeing a lot of your faces. So let me pray for you. Jesus, I pray that that you help us in the midst of all that we're doing. In the midst of this pandemic, may you provide doctors with wisdom and knowledge, and scientists and people working in labs, and everybody that is chipping in to make a difference. Pray for those that are on the front line working in hospitals and medical centers and people that are at risk daily, that you would protect them. Lord, I want to just ask that you help people find a vaccine, a cure, even just a way to help people survive this. And Lord, help each and every individual who's listening to this get through it, manage it, be okay, and know that we'll make it through the other side. No matter what that looks like, we'll get through it. So be with us as we experience what to do when we just don't know what to do sometimes. And Lord, we ask this in your name. Amen. Hey, I hope you all have a great week. If I don't see you, if you're watching this later, I miss all of you. I love all of you. I look forward to when we get to hang out and play some Gaga or just, sit and talk or whatever. So be safe, stay home, be smart, find creative ways to be in community with each other. And until next time, I love you all. Bye-bye.